G'day guys, how are ya? Jeff here. Just started to rain, had this bike for 2 weeks. The 2020 Kawasaki Z900, one of my all-time favourite naked bikes. This, when it came out a couple of years back, was one of my favourite all-time naked bikes. It was a massive improvement on the previous model. And now with the small refinements for this year, it's just an awesome machine. Look, it's got a rain mode, it's got a road mode, it's got a sport mode, it's got a really good traction control system that you can switch off. Switch gear's all basic, standard Kawasaki stuff. But because of the traction control, you can switch it on and off, and it's got a couple of levels. And that has been a bit of a hassle. That one's been playing up a little bit. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. So it's a little bit fiddly to change some settings. It's got this awesome new TFT screen with Bluetooth connectivity, so that's fantastic. That brings the bike up to date. It's still got its excellent LED lights to give it that fantastic style. It's got the Z in the rear of the tail light that comes on even brighter when you brake. The Z, that is. LED indicators. It's got some changes to the suspension to make it a bit sportier, and it really is a very sporty ride, but it's still pretty compliant on the bumpy roads. Like, we took in some really bumpy roads on the way back when we picked it up from Kawasaki, and it was amazing over those bumps. Front brakes, same, fantastic, lots of initial bite, really good modulation. The ABS system's fantastic, so typical great Kawasaki brakes. Even though it's only got a standard master cylinder, a conventional one, it's got span lever adjustment. It's plenty of power, plenty of brakes for what it is. The rear brake's a little bit doughier, but it's still good for around town. And applying them both, I was doing some emergency stops up the road here today to test it. It's quite stable on the brakes because it's got that slipper clutch. There's not too much engine braking, and it pulls up really well. Of course, that engine, it's got even more mid-range now. It's mental, like it's literally a V8 with handlebars. It punches heaps harder than a 900 should. It's got insane bottom end and torque. Really you feel the acceleration. And it's still got a pretty good top end. So it's a monster engine, but you know, hey, Kawasaki are known for their monster engine, so no changes there. Gearbox is silky smooth, ratios are good, gearing's quite low. It's not as tall as you would think, so they've got it through the ADRs. It's pretty quiet while maintaining reasonably low gearing, so that's why it's got that acceleration. It sits on about 5.5 grand at 110 k's an hour. It is a little bit cramped. You know, this peg to seat distance is quite tight and my leg is fairly flexed, but it's okay. It's okay for a few hours, like 2 or 3 hours even, for me in the saddle, but I wouldn't want to be any tighter at all. Like if I was any taller, I'd be super uncomfortable. Handlebar reach is nice and neutral for me. Like I said, 187 centimetres. They can roll back, they can roll forward. At the moment they're slightly back, and I like it exactly where it is. Mirrors are not too bad, they're a bit narrow here, and they come loose often, which is, well, there you go, look at that. It's a little bit annoying. A bit of Loctite would fix that for sure. One thing I've been pretty impressed with is the engine temperature. It hasn't been running super hot at all, even in heavy traffic. And the heat coming off the bike onto the legs, like some naked bikes really cook you, and this thing's quite comfortable. Tyres, plenty of grip from the Dunlops, reasonable lean angle clearance on the bike for a naked bike. It's probably one of the best handling inline 4-cylinder naked bikes I've ridden, certainly on the market. And Kawasaki have just got it spot on. The geometry's really good. It goes where you look. The steering's neutral. It's flickable. It's just one of those confidence-inspiring bikes. I really like it. Pillion perch is just, you wouldn't want to sit anyone on that unless you really hated them. Surprisingly, for a modern naked bike, there's a little bit of storage under there. You can fit your phone and your wallet and your vape or whatever it is that people have these days. In the various settings, rain's super dull. I'll use that now through the rest of this old road back down to Sydney. I've got to go and drop this off to Kawasaki now. It dulls the throttle, makes it doughy. It's like you're pulling a gear higher everywhere, and it's quite nice. The traction control is super intrusive in all levels of mode. So you do switch it off a bit when you want to get sporty, because even taking off on the lights, if you're in road or sport, it kicks in even in a straight line. so it's a really sensitive traction control system. Quite big throws between each brake, if that makes any sense. So it's not a super high-tech system, but it does a good job. Keeps you safe. So road mode's really good. I leave it in road most of the time. It's still got a good throttle response, silky smooth. And then when you really want to get aggro, you chuck it in sport, and it's got that aggressive pickup. The finish and the quality of the bike is typical Kawasaki, high standard. Love it or hate it. Some people don't like this kind of matte black finish. I don't mind it. I think it looks okay, but it does mark very easily. So you have to be super careful with it, getting on and off it. Make sure you don't scuff it with your boots or anything. But I love this dark charcoal look. It is quite hard to photograph, that's for sure. But I like it, and honestly, the fasteners, the fittings, the switch gear, all of it's fairly good quality, especially for the price point. Clutch is reasonably light, like very light, and it's super smooth in take-up, you know, 5-10 mil off the bar and off you go. It's only a cable actuated clutch, but it's really silky smooth. You don't need it for upshifts from there on, but I use it a bit anyway. But yeah, the gearbox is, as I mentioned, really very nice. No quick shifter. The bike would be a lot more fun with a quick shifter on it, so I'd be chucking my ladders on for sure and a slip-on. So suspension action, like I said, on the bumpy country roads, it's still compliant but sporty. There's no head shake, the bike's stable. And then when you get onto this smooth kind of stuff and you have a lot more grip, you can brake really hard. The forks support the bike hard on the brakes. It doesn't go through its stroke quickly. It sits down in its stroke, gets into the corner, and it holds the line really nicely. And off the corners, there's no squat at the rear end, so they've done a really good job with the sporty side of the suspension without compromising it on the open country roads too much. And around the city, it just feels agile and kind of racing. It's a really good fun bike. Overall, this is a motorcycle built for fun, and it also happens to be practical. So if you're in the market for a naked bike, you want to get out and self-isolate. There's a lot of doom and gloom at the moment, but we all want to ride. It's a bloody good way to get away from people. This is worth going into your local Kawasaki dealer and throwing a leg over one of these and see what you think. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Check out BikeReview.com.au. Tell us about your Z9 experience or Kawasaki experience. Drop a comment below the video and make sure you have an awesome day. Take it easy. Thanks.